Don't look now, but Alabama starting to roll a little bit now. A lot of us left them for dead after the Texas game. A lot of people said, well, Bama's done. Well, Nick Saban's this. Offense looks like that. 26-20 yesterday in College Station over Texas A&M. The Crimson Tide, it feels like, are starting to catch their tempo. We'll talk about it right now. Before we get to that, though, make sure you're subscribed right here. College football, only college football, every single day. Alabama Crimson Tide fans, had a lot of y'all join the party and be subscribed. Would love to have y'all a part of this if you have not yet subscribed. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Jody Pickell to stay up with all that we got going on right here. We appreciate y'all in advance for that. Now, Alabama, to be clear, not a finished product. Like, if Alabama looks the way they did yesterday in November, this whole conversation changes. But the way they're trending right now has to be encouraging. The team that we saw lose to Texas in Tuscaloosa, and to be clear, we were there in person to watch them lose that game. We picked Bama to win that game, and they did not. They're starting to look a little bit more together. The team that lost in Tuscaloosa to Texas is not the team that played in College Station yesterday, to be clear. The secondary looked much more comfortable. They looked very out of sorts against Texas. Texas was doing things where they were motioning and shifting, and I say all that because Texas A&M, one, wanted to do that to Texas yesterday. Two, they had the weapons to where if Texas wasn't on their A game on the back end, they would have been, or if Alabama, wasn't on their A game on the back end yesterday, Texas A&M would have taken advantage of it with the weapons they have. Evan Stewart, Aniyah Smith, Moose Muhammad. They got guys that could have hurt Alabama more than they did. And some of those, Aniyah Smith had himself a good game, but it wasn't a situation where you looked at the box score and say, man, that was it. That was it for us. That was the guy that just totally broke the game open. There was none of that. Alabama on the back end found their footing. I thought looked phenomenal in terms of the way that they responded from the Texas game and the Ole Miss game. And now in this game, you see a positive trend. Also, they took away the balance from A&M very early in this football game. They were not able to run the football at all. That defensive line for Alabama held them to 1.9 yards a carry. Okay, so you put the game on Max Johnson, the backup quarterback, and say, if we're going to lose this game, it's going to be because of you, brother. You beat us. Of course, Alabama did not allow that to happen. Now, offensively, we really thought going into the year it would be bully ball, it would be low margin for error, it would be Alabama's going to impose their will on the opposition every single Saturday. And we've seen some of that from Bama at points in time, but I think from what we saw yesterday, you got to feel encouraged that you didn't have the run game the way that you wanted to, and Jalen Milroe stepped up and showed out in an enormous way. The matchup to win for them was in the secondary. Hey, Jermaine Burton, Isaiah Bond, can y'all go win for us consistently if they're going to stack the box with that really talented front seven of A&M? And can you allow us to get a win on the road? And they answered in an enormous way. Jalen Milroe was 21 of 33, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. You don't love it, but even so, Jermaine Burton, 9 receptions, 197 yards, a pair of touchdowns. Isaiah Bond, 7 catches, 96 yards, 1 touchdown. I'll read off all those stats just to kind of emphasize there was matchups to be won. There was money on the table, and Alabama cashed in. Make no mistake, Texas A&M said the same thing that Bama said to Max Johnson. Jalen Milroe, beat us with your arm. Can you beat us as a passer? And the fact that Jalen Milroe was able to do that yesterday on the road in a game that he did not play well in last year, I think it says a lot about the maturity of Jalen Milroe, about the growth of Jalen Milroe, about the composure of Jalen Milroe, and honestly, quite frankly, the ability for this offense to rally around him and these skill position players to make plays for him. We had not seen these guys step up in this kind of fashion to this point in the year just yet. And so to see them do that, one, it does a lot in terms of putting things on tape for people that watch Alabama now, saying, okay, if we force them to try and throw the ball deep on us, that's a risk we may need to reevaluate. I don't know if we want to play the game where we force Jalen Milroe as a passer to beat us consistently. Now, in the intermediate game for Jalen Milroe, there's still some things that you would like to see him clean up, but I think for Jalen Milroe, the confidence this has to build for him to play a game like that and kind of exercise some of those demons from last year's game, I think that's going to do a lot for him going forward. And going forward now as well, I don't know that this will be the last time that Alabama asks Jalen Milroe to have that kind of performance. Because I don't know if you're going to play Alabama and you're going to try and do something to them defensively, you're going to sell it to stop the run before you sell it to stop the pass. Like that's the death you want to die. And so, again, I don't think it's a situation where you feel great about playing that way now with how Jalen Milroe played yesterday if you're trying to defend Bama. But as a whole, the confidence you have now in Jalen Milroe with the way that he played, I think makes you feel a lot better if you have to go that route for Alabama. So at the end of the day here, the thing with Alabama is if you're anyone else in the college football world that has to play them, you really probably have an issue with Ole Miss because you should have gotten Bama when they were down. And they were down after Texas, and they were down after USF. They're not down anymore. Is it perfect? No. Is it a finished product? Of course not. If they play this way in November, are they going to win a national title? Probably not. But what we see from Bama now is an identity taking shape. I see confidence building. I see a positive trend. And we said the same thing in our Georgia video. Good teams trend the right way from September to November. They don't play their best ball in September. They play their best ball in November, December, January. And right now, I see Alabama starting to get some momentum. They have their greatest coach of all time on their sideline, Nick Saban, and they have a really talented roster. All of those facets combine to tell me that Bama can be as good as they want to be. And so until they get that second loss, and history would tell us become eliminated, quote unquote, from college football playoff contention, I would be very nervous to play Alabama the rest of the way. So they still have the work cut out for them. They'll still play LSU. There's still a lot ahead for Alabama in terms of running the gauntlet, but to get a win like that and to win through the air with Jalen Milroe dealing the pill like a shady pharmacist, man, you got to feel good about the way you can win football games now with number 4 playing quarterback for you. Again, Bama rolling 26-20 in College Station. Got some momentum now. Big Mo is in the building in Tuscaloosa. Make sure you're subscribed right here. College football, only college football every single day of the year. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.